Royal Caribbean's newest ship, the Odyssey of the Seas, has 55 confirmed COVID cases, and they've now been turned away from 2 port of calls. We'll give you all the updates that we know on Odyssey of the Seas. There's sad news coming from the MSC Seashore, as a 15-year-old male passenger has been reported to have fallen from their balcony. One of the world's largest cruise lines is closed to new bookings between now and early January. Plus, there's cruise restart news as ships resume operations from the Port of Miami as well as the Port of Baltimore today. All this coming up on Midships. Hey, welcome to the Midships YouTube channel. I'm your Captain Corey. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel today. And man, oh man, there is just so much news coming out right now about Odyssey of the Seas, about the Queen Mary 2, about Omicron on cruise ships. It is just popping off all of a sudden. I'm not sure if all the news reporters are just trying to sniff out an easy story to get a lot of clicks and views, but it seems like they may have found their golden goose for Christmas in the form of roasting the cruise industry. But before we get into today's cruise news, I'd like to remind you there are still 2 days left to get entered to win a pair of these passport holders with COVID card insert. I'm giving away a pair of these, and the contest runs through noon Eastern on Christmas Day. If you'd like to get entered to win, make sure you go ahead and follow the link in the upper right-hand corner of this video. It's also going to be pinned down in the description below. We are officially just 2 days away now from the Christmas holiday, and I had hoped to be able to bring you a very happy and upbeat Midships episode here as we come into the holiday season. But unfortunately, today is going to be one of the heaviest episodes that we've had since we started the channel back in early July of this year. But because of that, I would like to start out with some good news to begin the episode, and that's going to be coming out of the Port of Miami. From cruiseindustrynews.com, the Norwegian Pearl resumes service out of Miami. Another Norwegian cruise ship is resuming service today as the Norwegian Pearl welcomed guests back in Miami. After a 21-month operational pause, the vessel is kicking off a series of Bahamian, Panama Canal, and Caribbean cruises. The first sailing cruise is for 11 nights and includes a partial transit of the Panama Canal. During the voyage, guests will be able to celebrate the holidays at sea, including Christmas and New Year's. And the Pearl is not the only ship for Norwegian to resume operations in the month of December. As many of you will remember, the Norwegian Dawn also resumed operations from the Port of Tampa Bay on December 8th. And Norwegian Cruise Lines is not the only brand making a comeback today. Let's go ahead and learn about the other one in the Port of Baltimore. From cruiseradio.net by Sarah Bretz, Royal Caribbean resumes cruising from Baltimore. Royal Caribbean has officially returned to another one of its U.S. home ports, as Enchantment of the Seas resumes operations from Baltimore today. The Vision-class ship will sail from the northeastern port through 2023, offering voyages to the Caribbean, Bahamas, Bermuda, and Canada. Today's 8-night Christmas sailing is scheduled to stop at 4 port calls, including Port Canaveral, Key West, Nassau, and Freeport in the Bahamas. The deployment also marks the return of Enchantment of the Seas to Baltimore after 8 years. The vessel was previously homeported there year-round from 2010 through 13. Enchantment of the Seas has been extensively renovated over the years, most notably when it was cut in half and stretched during a 31-day-long dry dock in 2005. And Enchantment of the Seas is the 3rd ship for Royal Caribbean to resume operations in the month of December. She, of course, joins Grandeur of the Seas, who restarted on December 5th out of Barbados, as well as the Brilliance of the Seas, who restarted operations on December 16th out of the Port of Tampa Bay. Well, as we announce Christmas cruises for 2 vessels, we have to announce the cancellation of a Christmas cruise for a Holland America Line ship. From CaymanNewsService.com, Christmas cruise ship visit is canceled. From CNS, the plans for a test run with cruise tourism have been canceled in Cayman Islands. Officials confirmed that the controversial proposed port call on December 28th by Holland America's new Statendam will no longer happen, a move that is likely to be broadly welcomed given the public anxiety over the spread of the Omicron variant on cruise ships. Well, you better run off, pour yourself your favorite beverage, and put on some comfortable clothes because the rest of today's episode is going to be pretty rough. And we're going to start out with a passenger losing their life aboard MSC Cruise Lines. And I would like to warn you that the next story does include the topic of suicide. I would also like to let you know that if this is something that you thought about, help is available. This is the phone number to the National Suicide Helpline. I would encourage you to call it because there is so much to look forward to in your life. So with the warning out of the way, we're going to hop into to a story from News 7 Miami. By Samantha Branca, passenger takes his own life while on board MSC Seashore. A young man is said to have taken his own life while on board MSC's Seashore. Witnesses say the incident took place around 7:30 p.m. on Wednesday. Miami-Dade police were able to confirm an announcement was made on the ship about a man who had gone overboard. MSC Cruises said the man was traveling with his family on board the ship. MSC Cruises released the following statement: "All of us at MSC are heartbroken. The family remains in our thoughts and prayers." The MSC Seashore was on a week-long voyage, and the ship is currently docked at the Port of Miami. So our hearts go out to the family of this young man aboard the MSC Seashore. We'll certainly keep you in our thoughts and prayers throughout the Christmas holiday. And before we move into the next story, I want to reiterate one more time that there is help available for you if you've ever had thoughts of suicide. Call the National Suicide Prevention Hotline at 1-800-273-8255. Well, the Odyssey of the Seas, Royal Caribbean's newest ship, has been making headlines for, well, a silly reason over the last few days, as they had to turn around and head back to Port Everglades to drop off a passenger who had COVID symptoms and didn't tell the cruise line when they boarded the ship. And I truly thought that was the end of the story for Odyssey of the Seas, but unfortunately this cruise has made national headlines now because there have been officially 55 cases of COVID on board the ship. This is a pretty quick spread to happen in such a short little cruise time, and as a result of all the attention, Royal Caribbean is taking drastic action. But before we get to that, let's first start with the details of the 55 cases on board Odyssey of the Seas. From WGAU Radio.com by Lauren Silver, cruise with 55 COVID cases on board will remain at sea. Despite being fully vaccinated, 55 crew members and passengers on Royal Caribbean's Odyssey of the Seas have contracted COVID, prompting 2 island nations to deny the ship entry, according to the Miami Herald. The ship had been at Coco Cay, Royal Caribbean's private island in the Bahamas, and had been scheduled to stop at Curacao and Aruba before returning to South Florida. But Curacao and Aruba denied entry to the ship, according to the Miami Herald. Now, of course, Aruba and Curacao are part of the ABC Islands, and we have a quote here from Royal Caribbean about the matter. "The decision was made together with the islands out of an abundance of caution due to the current trend of COVID cases in the destination's communities, as well as onboard guests and crew testing positive. Odyssey will now remain at sea until its previously scheduled return to South Florida on December 26th. Royal Caribbean told WPLG that all 55 people who tested positive were fully vaccinated and either have mild symptoms or no symptoms at all. The cruise line did not say how many infected are passengers or how many were crew members. The outbreak on Odyssey comes days after 48 people on Royal Caribbean's Symphony of the Seas tested positive for COVID when the cruise docked back home in Miami. That ship had more than 6,000 passengers and crew for a week-long voyage. So let's dig a little bit deeper into what went down in Curacao when Odyssey of the Seas tried to make her port of call. And this article is from cruisehive.com, written by Melissa Miantz. And we're going to dig a little bit deeper here into the article because it has more information that the last article didn't have. A total of 55 cases were reported on board Odyssey of the Seas, including 3 passengers and 52 crew members who tested positive. And this is Cruise Hive's reporting. I've not been able to independently confirm this from any other sources. This concerning number of cases led authorities in Curacao to deny the ship's clearance at the port shortly before guests were scheduled to disembark. Guests on board the ship noted that tour buses were parked and waiting for them at the pier as the ship arrived. But within a short period of time, all the buses packed up and left. Shortly thereafter, the captain announced that the stop had been canceled. Guests who had booked shore excursions would be refunded. And in addition to the canceled port of call, one of the ship's featured productions, Showgirls, Past, Present, and Future, has also been canceled due to outbreaks with the cast. And just in case you think I'm only singling out Royal Caribbean here, I invite you to take a look at this screenshot from the Aruba Port Authority website that shows the cancellation of the Odyssey of the Seas on the 23rd, as well as the Carnival Freedom, also being canceled for their port of call in Aruba on December 23rd. And the port call in Aruba was not the only cancellation for the Carnival Freedom, as they were also denied entry to Bonaire as well. And the bad news continues as we inch closer and closer to another partial or full shutdown of cruising entirely in the light of the Omicron variant. Royal Caribbean has now made the decision to go ahead and stop allowing new bookings for cruises between now and early January. Let's pick up the story from cruiseradio.net. By Richard Sims, Royal Caribbean closes bookings to reduce capacity following outbreaks. Royal Caribbean International has closed bookings through early January. The goal? To reduce capacity as the nation and cruise industry deals with an uptick in COVID cases. It was readers of the Royal Caribbean blog, which is not affiliated with the cruise line, who first noticed that certain sailings appeared to be closed for bookings. By Wednesday evening, the cruise line's official Twitter feed, in responding to questions from a guest, confirmed the news and explained why. And in response to a question of canceled sailings from Royal Caribbean on Twitter, they said, "I have more info on this and want to update you. We did close bookings through early January to ensure guests who are already booked can enjoy even more space and peace of mind while on board. No sailings or currently booked reservations have been canceled." While additional bookings for the sailings in question are closed, the line says that room changes and upgrades are still possible based on availability. So that's it then. We may indeed be heading towards another partial or full shutdown of the cruise industry in light of the Omicron variant. However, there's a little bit of hope, and I'd like to share it with you now. From Yahoo Finance. By Jake Smith, Corin Miller, and Emily Goldman. The FDA just authorized Pfizer and Merck COVID pills for emergency use. Both drugs have been shown to minimize the risk of severe disease in patients with COVID-19, though Pfizer's drug is almost 3 times more effective than that from Merck. The authorization provides a new tool to combat COVID-19 at a crucial time in the pandemic, as new variants emerge, and promises to make an antiviral treatment more accessible to patients who are at high risk for severe COVID-19. So all hope is not lost now that the FDA has just authorized COVID pills for emergency use. And the biggest glimmer of hope from this news is that this could be a game-changing form of treatment. Instead of having to go into a doctor's office, receive an IV treatment for antibodies, now COVID patients in the most at-risk categories may be able to treat their symptoms at home moving forward. And I think this story is an important one because drugs like this may indeed be what saves cruising for you and me. If you made it this far into today's episode, why haven't you subscribed to the channel yet? While you're down there, do me a huge favor and slap the thumbs up button if you can't wait for your next cruise. Thanks so much for stopping by the channel today, and until tomorrow, we'll see ya on the Midships. La 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 la.